everybody. So after a bit of a delay, I was finally able to watch Judas and the Black Messiah. This is a movie about Bill O'Neill and also Fred Hampton and their kind of personal journeys through the experience they shared with each other during the late 1960s in Chicago. As we know, Fred Hampton was the leader of the Black Panther Party in northern Chicago, and he was killed by police during a raid because, eventually the FBI was scared of his power and his uniting of a whole different classes of people, ethnicities, and just what he was able to do. The FBI was scared of that, so they hired Bill O'Neill, who was impersonating an FBI officer, to jack and steal cars at the time. So they recruited him to go undercover and basically get as much intel on the Black Panthers operations and Fred Hampton's whereabouts. So as the revolution is beginning in Chicago, there's also a battle for O'Neill's soul in this movie. So this movie is just a little over 2 hours long. It is directed by Shaka King, and it stars Daniel Kaluuya as Fred Hampton and Lakeith Stanfield as Bill O'Neill. So without further ado, let me get into my full review for Judas and the Black Messiah. Right off the bat, this is a movie that impressed me in every single thing that I was doing. It felt and paced and looked just like a Scorsese film in terms of the action really coming in at unexpected moments that really matter to the story, and it's that gritty, quick violence that doesn't hold back from how, like I said, just dark and gritty all the violence could be, especially between revolutionaries and cops and the FBI, and what happens to traitors or snitches in any operation, whether that be FBI or the Black Panther Party. This is, like, it does get a lot into the violence and just the trauma, especially that Bill O'Neill faces as he's undercover working for the FBI, and he has so much pressure and death threats coming from him from every single angle that surrounds him. And from that, Lakeith Stanfield gives one of the most Oscar-worthy performances that I've seen by an actor in a long, long time. If he doesn't pick up Best Actor for this role, I would be absolutely shocked. And of course, too, Daniel puts on an amazing performance as Fred Hampton, where their performances just have great chemistry together and bounce off one another. And even all the smaller characters, the FBI agents in this movie, do a fantastic job with the source material they have to work with, the intensity of the situation, blackmail, just every single emotion and thought that's being processed on their head comes out through their body language, their words, the amazing script and dialogue. The fantastic background track and score that this movie has too is just amplifying and embodying the time period, the strife, the struggle, and just the moods and all the emotions that the characters and just Chicago was feeling around this time. Like I said, the pacing in this movie is pretty fantastic. You get so much history, especially with all the characters, that stretches out just a little over a year timeline in this movie that, like I said, just feels like you don't miss anything about any of these character stories, which is pretty fantastic. And just the set design really brings everything together here, where it truly feels, like I said, like you're in the time period in terms of all just the design of the cars, their uniforms, the weapons they use in the film, the language they're speaking, especially the FBI tactics that they use. All of it's just so authentic, and they did an amazing job re-bringing like 1960 Chicago to the screen here, and the spirit of the revolution and the spirit of the FBI being scared and wanting to stop this revolution from happening is just completely embodied in this movie. And there's so many parallels to be drawn, of course, because their fight isn't over. It continues on every single day, and all of that is just really brought to life and showcased in a very respectful and amazing way in this movie. Really, one of the only things that I could like downplay about this movie is that sometimes the action scenes, there's a carjacking scene in the beginning of the film, and little things like that where sometimes it seemed like they're using way too many cuts in the movie to like show all the angles and everything that was happening, where it could have been done in definitely fewer cuts, or maybe even like a one-take scene would have been a lot more effective, I found, in a lot of these scenarios. But that's really the only downplay I could give to the directing and just anything in this film, because it is fantastically made, one of the best made films I've seen in a long, long time. And it's easily, like, this came out early February, and it is worthy of all the Oscar praise that it is getting and deserves to be there in every single category, every single performance that it's for, because this is a fantastic film. As any based on a real story movie, there are things changed for dramatic effect and storytelling that, of course, didn't happen or were just written into the film, or events that were changed, characters that were changed, but everything is still very respectful. It's not twisting the source material either one way. You get both sides of, and I don't even want to say both sides, there's so many other organizations and people who come into this film, and you get everything that embodied their spirits, their motivations in every single way, whether that be the Cuban population in northern Chicago at the time, of course, the Black Panthers, the FBI. There's a group of Confederates who come into this movie, and like I said, they're not twisted in any single way. Their motivations are really drawn out. They all have really dynamic characters who bring a lot to the movie, and any changes that were made to the film, to the history, to the source material aren't anything that downplay or degrade any of the messages from these characters that were being played in, which again, very respectful, very well made movie, very well thought out, and it's just, yeah, fantastically put together. And with all of this taken together, that's why I have to give Judas and the Black Messiah a 9 out of 10. This is pretty damn near perfect film that really just does justice to the story that it's telling and the characters, and just, like I said, touching upon so many personal factors, societal factors, and issues that really is something that people need to experience. This is one movie for all of 2021, and just further way down the line in terms of like social movies that I think everyone should watch. You should not miss out on this movie for, like I said, just all the historical context and messages that it is telling you, and especially for the performances put on by the actors in this movie, because it is truly something special and amazing with what they did with the Judas and the Black Messiah. So if you've seen Judas and the Black Messiah, please let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts of it were. And of course, if you want to check out all of my other videos and everything I do on this channel, you can do so through my playlist down below. There's also a link to my Twitch and Discord where you can keep up to date with everything else that I'm doing on all my other platforms in my bio. And if you like what you see on my channel, of course, subscribe and turn the little ringer on if you want to know when I upload new videos. But yes, definitely go check out this movie. It is on HBO Max, Crave. You can rent it from a bunch of subscription services also too, but like I said, just about a little over 2 hours long. But yes, awesome guys, check out Judas and the Black Messiah.